Welcome to the Sheriff's Office. Today is a good and bad day. We're sad to have to investigate a homicide here in Russell County over the last couple of days. Miss Keonte Chavis, Chavis. We found her Saturday afternoon on Lato Road at approximately 5:30 in the afternoon. The Sheriff's Office received a call from a person who lived in the area who was simply traveling down the dirt road on their way home. Saw what appeared to be a body laying just off the roadway into the wooded area. We were responded to the call, worked the scene as best we could. Of course, there had been lots of rain and things in the elements that we were having to deal with this particular crime scene. We were able to determine that our body at the time appeared to be matching the description of a missing female from Phoenix City that occurred on Thursday, the 7th of August, Thursday morning. And so we began working that and trying to determine if in fact this was going to be our missing female from the Phoenix City Police Department. Here with us today is Chief Smith, who is the Phoenix City Police Department, and some of Ms. Chavis's family here to my left. Once we began working the case and working the investigation, we were able to obtain some evidence that confirmed who she was with. Last seen with on Thursday night. We were able to, we think the evidence will show that we were able to prove that she was with Christian Grissom until the wee hours 2:15 a.m. on Thursday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning a.m. hours. Something went badly wrong at that point, and Ms. Chavis was killed. Soon after, Mr. Grissom has a few hours on Thursday that he spends actually talking with the PD and the family and trying to tell the family, his side of what occurred. He stated to them that he dropped Ms. Chavis off at 1:30 at a location still alive and well. We believe that we can prove in this case that that is not true, that he was still with her at that time, and that when he left her on the side of the road. The body is still at the autopsy in Montgomery. I'm being told this morning that it is what we thought it would be. The cause of death we believe to be strangulation.
Like the Sheriff said, this started as a missing person investigation with the police department on Thursday. Based on the information that we gathered during that missing person investigation, we hope that information was helpful in identifying the suspect. We did have contact with Chris early in the missing persons investigation at the police department level, but did not have enough information at that time to make any formal charges. But since that time has gone by, we've been able to develop more information. The sheriff alluded to some of the evidence that has been collected. Certainly it's a sad time for us as a police department family to work a missing person case that later turns out to be a homicide. But I think the evidence, like the sheriff said, will show that unfortunately she was not with us at the time that the report was filed with us as a missing person. It had already been a homicide. It just took us until Saturday to identify that that was in fact a homicide. So we were working that case, that missing person case, Unfortunately, we have to work those cases with the understanding that it may turn into a homicide, so hopefully the evidence that was collected during that missing person investigation will be beneficial in helping secure this, a resolution to this case.
Yesterday, we were able to put enough evidence together to get a warrant for murder for Mr. Grissom. He had fled to New York. He was in Plattekill, New York, where his mother lives. Certainly we had, family here that was extremely cooperative with us and very helpful in trying to put pieces of the puzzle together as to what occurred that night, on Wednesday night, early morning hours of Thursday morning. They were helpful in the recovery of Mr. Grissom. I'm very thankful to them for sticking with us and helping us in a time of dealing with your family as not only the victim but as the offender. I think Chris is a second cousin of Keonte. I think, and that may be, is that right? Second cousin.
Have you ever been able to determine a possible motive in the case yet?
Well, I do know what we feel is the motive, but I don't want to release that until we have an opportunity to speak to him. Mr. Grissom was staying with Keonte and their grandparents. So when he came home without her at 6 a.m., the grandparents, as well as Mr. Grissom, went to the police department sometime before 9 o'clock, I believe, and made that missing persons report that she had not come home Wednesday night, Thursday. Residing in Jacksonville, Florida, he came up on his way to New York. There's no indication that this was any type of planned or premeditated situation. This appears to be strictly spur of the moment, and Mr. Grissom does have a history of domestic violence. One of the reasons that we believe he was leaving Jacksonville, Florida and headed to New York to see his family and mother in New York was because of a domestic violence with his girlfriend in Florida, where he missed a court date and they issued a failure to appear type warrant for him in Florida. At this point, if there's no other questions, we will close. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. You're welcome. Take care. Just come. Yes, sir. Good to see you. All right, buddy. How you doing?